Hello, guys. Welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to look at the three promoted teams heading into the Premier League: Hull City, Ipswich Town, and Coventry City. And what better man to join me to take a look at these three teams than Benjamin Bloom, EFL Championship expert, YouTube legend, my co host on the Sportsman Untitled podcast as well. Ben, how are you getting on?
I'm good, mate. Yeah. I like talking about the Championship, but you got me talking about the Premier League today, which kind of fills me with dread, which I'm sure we'll get into.
Well, we've eased it in here, haven't we? Because these are three teams we saw an awful lot of last season in the Championship. We're going to start with Hull, playoff winners, Jukirovic coming in. Still looking at that promotion last season as one of the most unlikely promotions we've ever seen to the Premier League. How much of a kind of negative is that for them to now be in the Premier League when they've not got the same sort of fluidity playing style as Ipswich or Coventry, who were at the top of the table?
Well, probably what a good exercise would be is look at the other incredibly unlikely promotions and say what happened after that. Obviously, Ipswich 23-24 was incredibly unlikely back to back, and that was a struggle. But Hull don't come up with a League One squad like Ipswich do. When you look at other unlikely promotions, you go back to sort of Norwich and Sheffield United in 2018-19. And yeah, Norwich were terrible, but Sheffield United were very good, weren't they? However,
Huddersfield, maybe?
yeah, they stayed up, didn't they?
Yeah, they got 1 year, didn't they?
Yeah, that's probably quite a good comparison, actually, isn't it? Sheffield United had lots of pattern of play. Huddersfield might be the one to look at because that was kind of done through the playoffs, really force of will. Great job by David Wagner, wasn't it? And one thing Hull have, and okay, we're talking about like a 9.5 out of 10 for Lampard and a 10 out of 10 for Jukirovic. They probably have the best performing manager, from Championship land last year. But yeah, the three sides come at it from different angles, don't they? And would you agree with me, Hull, because of the nature, going back to your question of the promotion, probably come at it from the most difficult angle, don't they?
Yeah, you would say it's a lot of ground to catch up for Hull. I think they are favourites with everyone to finish rock bottom of the league. I can understand that. What they get 75 points in the end in the championship season? Was it that high?
I
Obviously,
can't remember.
won the playoffs in fantastic fashion, kept a clean sheet. I agree with you. It feels like they've got the most to do. My one little thought in the back of my mind I have about Hull is that they played the entire championship season the way they're going to play the Premier League season. They played counter-attacking football, got the ball forward really quickly, defended really nicely, had a solid defense, got into their shape. It's how they won the playoffs. Can they translate that with a few extra signings into the Premier League? Man United on the opening day. We know how Hull are going to play exactly from the off because it's exactly what we saw in the Championship last year then.
Well, that's a fair point. But my immediate cantankerous question to you back, Simon, is how many players that got Hull promoted are going to be starting? Because we're just now in the post kind of the 17 era and post Mr. Marinakis at Forest. It's very normal now to sign 10 or 15 players. And it'll be an interesting conversation when we get to Coventry, who had the best pattern of play in the Championship last year, because you're probably going to tell me that's going to need to be adapted in the Premier League. And what Hull have done so far in the window, forgive me, I've got FootMob up. I can see 9 new signings. Okay, Gelhardt isn't really a new signing. But I suppose you could then flip it around and say, if the tactics are very dependent on the manager and in game, then does it matter if they change a load of players?
Yeah, potentially that's an argument to be made as well. And I look at those signings, and obviously with the kind of Nottingham Forest factor, a lot of signings that these clubs are making have to be unproven. Players we've not really seen before. They've also brought in Matt Targett for a bit of experience at left back. Marita from Sporting, heard very good things about, and very experienced in the middle of the park as well. Aside from that, there's a lot of question marks about these players they've bought in. They bought in the Olympiacos keeper, whose name I won't try and pronounce. They obviously bought in Jack Butland, but I think he's injured right now. And you're right, Gelhardt returns. Nobel Mendy comes in from Rayo Vallecano. There's so many question marks about these signings, even though they're getting towards £100 million, like Ipswich and Coventry have hit as well. I don't know if these signings are enough to take them and catch up the ground on Coventry and Ipswich that they need to, and then catch another Premier League team. I still think they are the most likely to get relegated, even with these signings, Ben.
Yeah. We haven't mentioned Sunderland yet last season. They're kind of the new poster boys for how to do it. When you consider Leeds got 100 points and they already had some years of Premier League infrastructure behind them, which is important, believe you me. I don't know from watching Ipswich try and stay up last time that can kill you before you've even started sometimes. So, yeah, they have to be untested to a certain extent. The problem you have comparing anyone with Sunderland is what Sunderland did, it felt like, was just do what they were already doing in the Championship with more money and with more kind of capacity. If you look at an Isidore, Mayenda, Lefay, a lot of the French market, actually, which could bode well for a team we're about to talk about. But yeah, I don't want to sit here and make it overly simplistic, but every fan of a promoted team, the start point is, can you finish above the other two promoted teams? If you can't do that, you're probably relegated.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and this is where it might get really difficult this year, who can you pull in? Because unfortunately, the team that was circling the drain is Spurs. And I don't think they're going to get relegated.
I think they've spent a little bit of money this summer to get themselves out of a bit of bother. I do think that's another argument to be made in the fact that we lost Wolves and West Ham last season, two clubs who were circling the drain. There were two of the weaker clubs in the Premier League. There were clubs that the promoted teams could catch. Now, as three new boys are coming into it, it feels like the bar has been raised. And
someone's going to have to come out of nowhere, Simon. Someone's going to have to fall 5 or 6 places, aren't they?
Or Fulham going to have a drop-off with Arbeloa in charge? Are we going to see Palace drop off now? Glasner's left. Are you going to see Sunderland collapse because they're in Europe? We are not clutching at straws, but we're getting to a stage where it's like there's going to have to be a very big drop off, and there isn't a weak team looking at it from the start of the season, which does make it difficult for all three of us.
If I may, Simon, probably what the most stable thing would be is if every season 2 of the promoted teams got relegated and 1 stayed up. That would make things really neat and tidy and stable. That would allow teams to circle the drain and be pulled in. What we've had recently is we've had the extremes, haven't we? We've had 2-3 seasons of all 3 teams going down after that one season where Fulham, Bournemouth and Forest all stayed up. And it felt last season was quite extreme as well.
Yeah.
You know, 2 teams staying up after 3 years or whatever of nobody staying up is a huge swing. So what I'm saying is it's volatile. And when things are volatile, they tend to just swing like a pendulum. So I hope I'm wrong and we get at least 1. But yeah, it feels like, and you're right about West Ham and Wolves as well. It feels like now it's more likely to swing back the other way and become difficult for the 17. But I said all these things last year, and West Ham and Wolves did drop.
Yeah, fingers crossed for a collapse from one of the big boys from our point of view. We'll come on to Ipswich now, Ben. I think Hull are the weakest of the 3 teams coming up. I think they've got a style of play that could work. I look at Coventry and Ipswich as a coin flip, really, on who could finish higher. I actually like what Ipswich have done. Ipswich have a year of experience very recently in the Premier League. How important is that, even in terms of squad building, in comparison to the other 2?
It's a massive advantage, isn't it? Because, I mean, if you look at the numbers simplistically, we know Coventry traded brilliantly, didn't they, to raise the money from Harmer and Gyökeres, but they spent the money, didn't they? So they're then up against a team on the balance sheet now with Ipswich that, albeit came from League One, and that was a extraordinary quick rise, but for the last 2 seasons, Ipswich have had a Premier League TV money and a parachute payment TV money, which is way more on the books. Yes, a lot of people will say in the comments, but Ipswich spent it, but it's all turnover and it's increasing that capacity up for when you do want, and this is about getting your it's so patronising, but Coventry and Hull fans will hear it a load. Your Premier League ready players,
Yeah.
they're really difficult to get if your balance sheet is struggling because of the wages. You can do a 80, 100 million of transfer fees, but it's then the wages on top that's difficult to get through the books because you're signing the liabilities for 2, 3, 4, 5 years sometimes to amortize the transfer fees. So it's a big advantage. Obviously, compare then Ipswich to even Bournemouth, Fulham, or Forest, and they're then light years ahead. Compare them to Brighton and Brentford, they're then light years ahead, and then go to the bloody Champions League teams, and it's almost a different sport. You're 10x in, 20x in the money that's coming in and available. But that's a very long-winded answer of yes, it's an advantage.
I look at the summer business Ipswich have done as well, and there's some really eye-catching deals in there. I think, what is it, 120 odd million spent right now, which is big investment after a decent fee spent last time we were in the Premier League as well. I look at someone like Enciso coming in as a big impact player. I love the sign of Adisa Diop as well from Fulham. I think a
Mm.
big centre back, experienced, wonderful at the World Cup. What an easy plug and play signing he is, going straight in and weakening, hopefully, a relegation rival. I like it. I like Maeda coming in from Celtic as well. What's your overview of the business so far?
Well, what they've tried to do this time is do the things they couldn't do last time.
Mm.
And that is Premier League ready players. So when you look at Sasa Lukic and Issa Diop, yeah, they may be players that Fulham thought that they might not need, but they're vastly experienced Premier League players. They've gone for the physicality in terms of Florentino. Sherpen is 6'9", the keeper. So it's very, very clear that the chairman wanted the manager to have bigger, more physical players. Whether how quickly trends move in football, how long that'll be a thing for. But we did see Ipswich. I remember Ipswich playing Brentford, and just they just lost it purely on physicality and set pieces. Brentford were light years ahead, and I think Fatawu's an interesting. We loved him in the Championship, didn't we? They've gone all in on Emerson, a young Brazilian striker, and Ciso is super exciting. And this is where it helps if your manager managed Strasbourg last season and was literally Ciso's manager. So they seem to have tried to fix the things that weren't right last time. And I was kind of thinking as you were talking, how many of those signings from last time, maybe Jacob Greaves? Obviously, the star signing was Delap, and he's not going to be there. Philogene seems to want to finagle his way out. Hutchinson, this is the thing. You can make some really good signings. Obviously, Delap and Hutchinson were immediately flipped straight back to the Premier League. So it's very transient for promoted teams now, let's just say. But I'm more optimistic about the business. But then, probably like you're going to come on to with Coventry, I was so excited about the story last time that I think maybe the two things even each other out, and I'm in the same curmudgeonly, grumpy, trepidatious place as I was last time, mate.
Oh, dearie me, being bruised by the Premier League one year. I'm yet to be bruised by it, but give it,
Let's
we
hope you
3
don't.
days out now for Arsenal away? Yeah.
Oh, Arsenal away, mate. Oh, I mean, Ipswich last time as well had Liverpool first game and then Man City second game.
Yeah.
So it's like a 36 game season straight off. You're like, well, that might be a tough opener, yeah?
Exactly. The one difference actually that Hull and Coventry have compared to Ipswich is the continuity of the manager. You mentioned O'Neill there coming in to replace McKenna. Don't want to say it's an immediate negative, but it is that lack of continuity. I don't mind the appointment of O'Neill. I actually think he's all right, but I don't know how much that will, as well as the bulk of the new players you've built. Is it going to be a slow start? Is it going to take time? Is that somewhere where you can't afford to drop points that Ipswich might be slightly slow out of the gate?
Well, you can argue it both ways, Simon. I mean, the McKenna this summer would have been a very different McKenna. That was a slog for Ipswich last season. And He
Massive respect to him, by the way, for just walking away. I really respect that. Wanted more time. We needed time away from the game. I just thought
kind of
respectable for that.
liked him to stay, but I get why he did it, and I think he was just physically and
Mm.
mentally done by the expectation, the slog. Remember the run in the postponements. Obviously, Coventry got the big lead ahead, and there was only one place to play for, so it wouldn't have been the same McKenna. And it looked like he was trying to build a more pragmatic style of play for the Premier League. I reiterate my point that, I mean, what, Leaf Davis will be in the 11, Dara O'Shea? They literally might complete a Philogene as well. They
Jack
might have
Clark, what's going on with Jack Clark?
Jack
Is he
Clark
gonna
probably won't play. You know, they've signed Fatawu and
yeah.
Ciso Maeda. You know, Clark may well be sought after by some parachute teams, mightn't he? But so there is that side of it. Look, I will forever love Kieran McKenna for the double promotion. What I'll say in very positive fashion about Gary O'Neill is he picked up Wolves and Bournemouth with less notice than he's getting at Ipswich, in with less stability. And you know, second season Wolves aside, that didn't go well. He had good outcomes, so maybe the continuity doesn't matter, and they're going all in on a guy that can do season one in a job. I know Wolves were more established, but Bournemouth, he was proper thrown down the river or sold down the river, then thrown into the deep end, mixing my cliches here. So, yeah, I loved McKenna, but it's not the worst solution if he's not there.
Yeah, it is so important that first season getting over the line and then trying to build from there. And like Sunderland and Leeds aren't even really being discussed about as bottom three teams this year, based on what we saw from them last year. It does bring us to Coventry, obviously champions last season. It's me trying to balance the excitement and the signings and all of this new stuff and the fact that we are a new team in the Premier League after 25 years away. And there's a lot of excitement and good vibes around the club right now, with the fact that the step up is massive, Ben, and there will be a reality check. It might well come on opening night. It might well come on our second away game where we go to Manchester City. I don't know how I feel about the Premier League. At the moment, it's excitement and the new signings are good, but I don't know how much a good vibe and a good championship team and good champions, which we were, can carry us to safety.
It's hard, isn't it? What I will say is I like the way that Coventry come at it from, because it feels like being a yo-yo team is actually quite difficult to navigate with the ups and downs. It feels like coming straight at it like Ipswich did last time and like Hull this time is also tricky. I always say in football, you know, the best climb is a steady climb. And so I think that bodes well for Coventry, that it's been a gradual process to get there.
Maybe Brentford-esque, if you want to look at a positive there. Brentford built for
Yeah.
season on scene in the Championship and then finally got over the line and then were able to stay in the league. It was obviously like a decade ago now, but still half a decade ago.
Yeah, that's a positive kind of example. It's only really Brighton and Brentford that were banging away at the ceiling in the Championship, because often now teams that get into the playoffs and lose a couple of times are decimated. And that's what Coventry did most brilliantly was, you know, they got the heartbreak losing in the final against Luton, and then used the money from the team that got decimated to rebuild a better team, you know, and that's the one that's coming into the Premier League. They haven't gone crazy mental with the signings, have they? So it does feel like a hardcore of the players that were in there last season are going to be there. But I would take your point from earlier that Coventry were thrilling last year and brilliantly attacking and scored lots of goals. Hey, one thing that will work in the Premier League, though, is your right back hurling it in the box and building pressure up. So,
taking a minute for every throw in, is that still allowed?
Yeah, it's. I think they've clamped down on that, haven't they? But you know, Coventry aren't mugs who are just going to play really open and get beat 4-0 every week. There is a lot is said about Frank. That guy is far from stupid, and neither is Joe Edwards. And he, like Gary O'Neill, has been there before. Three pretty smart managers, but then they all are nowadays, aren't they? So, what is your take then, Simon, on the mix between um, last year and this year? And dare I say, if Matt Grimes was deemed not physical enough for the Championship and needed some help from Onyeka and Thomas and who was the other centre back that got bombed out for Wolfenden and Latapodi? I can't remember. Kitching
Yeah.
in early this year. If that was a problem in the Championship, is it going to be an even bigger problem in the Premier League? And I don't know. What's your take?
I like the signings because it feels a bit Leedsy from last summer, where we've gone for physicality, we've gone for strength. I mean, Carlo Bianchi's coming in; he's our record signing, 20-year-old Ghanaian midfielder, very physical. Saw him against Monaco, box to box midfielder. And what we did in midfield then, which I think we'll do, is play him and Onyeka next to Grimes, and just let Grimes have the ball and let the other two do the work. Let them press, let them bring the energy.
Extra body in there, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Radoni's out for the start of the season anyway, so it makes it a bit easier. It looks like Chowner from Burnley is going to be a starting winger. He's decent physically. We've signed Amenda, who's a centre-back, who's an absolute giant from Frankfurt. I just see the long throw, the physical centre-backs. I mean, Bobby Thomas and Amenda should just head it and kick it, get it out of the box, deal with it that way. It's not going to be that pretty, but I just want us to be energetic and competitive, especially against the big teams. At home, we've got Hull at home first. It's like, that's so big. That is so big.
Must win that 6-pointer immediately, yeah.
We have to win that game. We have to win the game. We have to show something, but we've still got the likes of Sakamoto. Still got we've just signed Taiwo Awoniyi, who I think is a fantastic signing.
I like Awoniyi. Yeah. I know he's had
£9 million as well.
Yeah.
I think that's a bit of Premier League experience. We're signing another striker, Sheriff from Fenerbahce, because Haji Wright's injured for 3 months. I look at the physical profiles of the players we're bringing in, and I like them an awful lot. I agree it's still a blend of seeing who can make that step up. We still don't. We're going to be starting Jay De Silva at left back at the Emirates. I like the guy. I think he's a really good footballer. But what is he, 5'3", 5'4"? Physically, we're going to struggle down that side. There's no doubt about it. The backup is Jake Bidwell. Definitely need improvement in that area. So there's clear ways we need to improve before the window shuts. But what we've done, I think, is physically got ourselves ready for the Premier League. I don't think Victor Torp physically maybe would have been able to deal with it in midfield. Grimes, there's still question marks around him, but surround him with good physical players and we should be okay in the middle. We're not going to know until we go out on the pitch how it's going to work. But as you say, Lampard isn't stupid. With Everton, he went to a back three. Maybe that's something Coventry try at times this season.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
He's been tactically flexible. I'm confident. I do think, if I'm honest, I think Hull will probably go down. And then it is between, I think, Coventry and Ipswich. I think 2 of the promoted teams will go down. I think 1 will stay up. And I can't call it right now, Ben.
So Hull 14th then, yeah?
Hull 14th, Ipswich 20th, Coventry 19th. Yeah, correct.
It's so difficult though, Simon, because, I always get accused of being negative when I talk about the promoted teams. But I always try and come from a position of logic and balance. And unfortunately, logic just says it's very hard to stay in there. And what Sunderland and Leeds did last time out was absolutely fantastic, and I applaud them. I applaud them greatly. I am worried that wise men say that you can play your hand perfectly and still lose. That Coventry could score 33, 34 points, but if there isn't a West Ham or Wolves, which, let's be frank, there just isn't. There's no one circling the drain. You are reliant on second season syndrome just killing Sunderland, Brentford or Fulham or someone just collapsing, which would be, particularly for Brentford, less so for Fulham. It does feel like there's a lot of change at Fulham. So you never know. Could second season syndrome get Leeds? Calvert-Lewin gets hurt or something. It does feel like the chances of an owners relegate club now, Faux Son have gone and Brady Sullivan and the Gold Estate have gone. Where's the crazy owner? Maybe it is the Khans at Fulham. I don't know. And you just need that one team, don't you, to help the three promoted teams.
Probably 2, Ben, so we can both stay in the Premier League. Eh?
It's going to be hard, man. It's going to be hard. I suspect I suspect one of us will be unhappy at the end of the season. But Yeah, it's tough. It really is tough. I want it to be but it kind of should be that way, shouldn't
Mm.
it? It shouldn't be the case that 3 teams can just come up and all stay up just like that. It's not the world's richest league and hardest league if that's the case, and you got to fight to get in it. I'm just wondering whether you might have to fight a couple of times like Ipswich are doing, and is it the second and third attempt you do it? I did want to mention getting the legacy signing is so vital that Xhaka was class and Calvert-Lewin was class last year. It feels like you need one
Yeah.
big signing that knows the Premier League to perform, doesn't it?
That's a really, really, really good point. Great point to end on, I think. Get in the comments down below. Who do you think is staying up? Who's got the best chance out of Hull, Coventry, and Ipswich? Will it be one, two, or three of us going straight back down? Or maybe none, hey? It might all stay up and shock the Premier League. Well, I can't remember the last time that would have happened, Ben. Must be years and years since.
What,
Oh, no, it was the
23? No, it
Forest
was,
thing,
yeah,
right?
21, 22. Yeah, Forest
Can't even be
Bournemouth.
that long. There we go.
Fulham, yeah.
Please do go and check out Ben's channel. Always great championship content. Check us out on the Sportsman Untitled every Monday for championship reviews as well. Ben, thank you very much for joining me, mate. I will see you next time.